Hi, everybody. I'm Green Irene. If you don't already know me, you can find me on Facebook at Green Irene, Canna Talk. You can also find me at greenirene.ca. Today's episode is again a word's worth, and joining me for a conversation about cannabis, meditation, and self-hypnosis is Kim Cooper. Hi, Kim. How are you doing?
Hi, Irene. I'm doing well, thank you. I've got a bit of a cough going on before people panic. I just did a really big dab. It's Toker's cough.
There you go. It's not Corona. Wow. So you know what? Yeah. How are you holding up I ask this question of everybody. How are you holding up with the isolation, with the distancing? I know you're naturally a homebody as well, right? So
Yeah,
that's
life
not
hasn't changed all that much for me. Quite honestly, it's not all that different on my end. I I'm a loner. I live in the country. I'm isolated as it is on a regular basis. Much of my work and my activism is online already. That is the majority of my platform as it is. So not a lot of change for me on my end with the isolation. I'm already used to it. I've been at this for 20 years already. So I'm good on that end, perfectly fine. Supply end is starting to get a little touchy out there with being able to get supplies. Um, Most stuff is available. The one thing that I've really noticed that has affected my life seems minuscule in the grand scheme of things. I can't find almond milk. But other than that, life is pretty good.
Oh, there. That's wonderful. Healthy habits, and almond milk's an excellent alternative to cow's milk or to regular dairy. And I know any of us with digestive issues kind of prefer to stay away from the dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, healthy habits is exactly what I want to talk about today because a lot of people are feeling stressed. They're feeling anxious. There's now with the isolation, they're starting to deal with different bouts of different types of depression or depressive states. And they're finding mentally, not just physically, but mentally, we're going stir crazy.
Yeah. You know what? I can relate. Now, I'm okay right now, but I've only been a northerner, yeah, for a long time, but 20 years. I've got some years before that 20 years, whereas a city girl. I'm from downtown Toronto, like the heart of downtown Toronto, born and raised, spent my first 35 years there. So when I moved to Northern Ontario, that's what I'm comparing what I'm seeing in the public right now to, is when I moved up here, I went what I call shack wacky. Okay, it was shack wacky. I couldn't stand it. And I was jumping on that train every 2 weeks and hightailing it back to Toronto to get my city on because it was like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm living in the middle of nowhere. I'm never going to be able to survive this. It took a while. So I can relate. I know exactly what everybody's going through because I did go through it. It's just already in the past.
Right. Well, that means you're coming at today's conversation with some experience, which is wonderful because, I really do value your experience, your education, your advocacy when it comes to cannabis. At any point in time, when you going back to the 20 years ago when you first showed up in the northern regions in the middle of nowhere, and it's cold, when you first got there, did you ever utilize self-hypnosis techniques, or did you know that they were self-hypnosis techniques, or meditation, taking that sort of time out to still your mind? Did you do any of those practices in the past?
Not self-hypnosis, but yes to meditation. Quiet time. A lot of people, I think, meditate, they don't even know they're meditating. I didn't. When I learned about meditation, I thought I couldn't learn that. I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do that because I'm very high strung. I'm a very hyper person. So I thought, no, that's not for me, eh? And and then I got into it a little bit, and I learned a little bit about it about 30 years ago, and I found out, oh well, I already do that. I just call it zoning out.
Yes, I call it the gazing method. It's
Yeah.
gaze easy, effortlessly.
Yeah.
Taking some G time. Yeah, we all do self-hypnosis. We all do self-hypnosis. In fact, there's some research that credits that we probably self-hypnotize ourselves X number of times in a day. If you've ever sat at the dinner table and you can hear the conversation going on around you, but you're staring at that pepper shaker that you don't even see the pepper shaker anymore,
Yeah.
you're just beyond that, and you zone right, as the term you use, zone right out.
Yeah.
That's self-hypnosis. Now, to be able to do that intentionally, so to be able to go into a self-hypnotic state with an intention of what you want to focus on while you're there, is the challenge that most of us go, wow, I want that magic wand. And thanks to cannabis, we have it. It's wonderful for helping to facilitate and act as that vehicle to get us from a really busy, active, high-strung, I call it a high-tension coil spring brain. It's like ding, 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 ding. To get us, so cannabis is great at settling us down and helping us to turn down that volume of noise, open our mind in the now.
Yes.
And just our mind.
And it's I don't even want to use, I don't know what term to use here, so I'm not even going to use one. I'm just going to use the comparison right now. The fact that we are self-isolating right now, it's almost could be helpful to achieving these things because we've turned off the outside noise. We're not consumed by everything that was consuming our lives before. Focus is more concentrated right now on just certain aspects of life, and the outside noise of life that consumes us has fallen away. So that's opening some doors for people on a conscious level and on a subconscious level, on getting in touch with yourself, priorities, and just learning about oneself.
Exactly. That's what this week has been all about with the Wordsworth, is enhancing that self-awareness, increasing our own resilience, so that ultimately, because this too shall pass, we can emerge empowered.
But what will we take away when
Right.
that happens?
So let's talk about some of the positive ways we can do that, so that we're not taking the negative attitudes, the negative thought processes, the negativity of fear, shame, guilt, and all this anxiety and everything else going on when you're in isolation or in solitude, for lack of a better term, because we have a lot of viewers that do live alone, and let's face it, pets, our furry little companions are great companions, but they're not good communicators. Us humans need our own kind. And for the ones who are too shy to reach out and communicate this way via the chat processes, it's important that they maintain sane while they're in their brain, kind of thing. There I am rhyming. Now there's a lot of yogis and shamans and that sort of thing, not historically, but of recent times, that are against the use and are quite controversial about using cannabis during meditation or spiritual awakenings. I don't believe that. And have you had any contact with anybody that does practice meditation or self-hypnosis that says, no, you shouldn't use cannabis during that time?
Oh, I'm not in this in any kind of professional manner or anything like that. I learned about it, through discussion, through talking, and through reading articles and watching YouTube videos and reading books. I took a couple of classes while I was getting some help with depression. So, that's my sum total information on it. I know what works for me. I don't know any shaman or anything like that practice it.
Yeah, okay. So, you say you know what works for you. If you were to plan or organize, let's say schedule a 15-minute timeout, and the Zen world is you should meditate 15 minutes every day or 5 minutes every day. And if you don't have time for meditation, then you need to take the whole day, or you need to take an hour. If you don't have 5 minutes, you need to take an hour. I don't know the exact Zen saying.
Yeah.
So I have my meditative times in which I have a very routine practice, and I'll go through my steps, but would you like to share your, what steps you take? Do you inhale cannabis first? Do you light candles? Do you sit in a seated position? Do you create a set intent before doing meditation?
No, like I said, I'm not like dedicated or anything like that. When I need a quiet moment, I know I need a quiet moment, and I go where that moment presents itself. I don't need candles or anything. If you want to meditate and you want to just get away and get within with yourself, surroundings and environment shouldn't matter. It doesn't to me. As long as it's quiet, it's relatively calm lighting, if not dim. I mean, that's about it. That's all you need is a space to go and be at one with yourself and your thoughts and get in your own head and let everything else go.
Absolutely. And I hear you. I think for beginners, they tend to look at it, well, how do I do this? Because if they get caught with a thought in their mind, they become, they feel like a failure. And this is one of the things I've heard with clients in the past. So what I do recommend is I always recommend one of the first steps. Again, I go straight to the G meditation, which is the gazing easily and effortlessly.
Yeah.
And what I recommend is always putting a candle in front, lighting that candle, because we can gaze at the flame. And I don't know anybody who doesn't get hypnotized by flame, right?
Yeah.
So I recommend they get in that position, gaze at the flickering candlelight, the flame, in a comfortably seated position. You will find over time that your posture will change.
Yeah.
I didn't intentionally change my posture. It changed me. And I find once you're doing that, if you start to follow your breaths with the jumping of the flame, we can, all of a sudden, the sounds and the noises and the internal chatter of all of our thoughts start to dissipate. They become elusive because we're so concentrated on our breath and that flame. And I personally have found that 5 to 10 minutes of that time and that space is equivalent to a 4-hour nap.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure. I mean, we all have to do what works for us. If you're brand new to it, there's, I'm sure, a gazillion techniques out there. And for sure the info is out there. Follow it, find out what works for you, try different things. It came naturally for me. And some people say that I'm lucky. but I didn't even know I was meditating for years. Like I said, I was just zoning out. And then lo and behold, oh, no, you're meditating and you're, getting in with yourself. And it's like, oh, okay, well, who knew? So it works for me, and just quiet works for me. But don't be afraid to change and try different stuff, because what works for one person doesn't work for everybody. And we've got to be open to trying different methods to just create the space and the environment that you need to achieve it.
Well said. Well said. It is so important to recognize that what works for one person isn't going to work for everybody. Don't give up. Meditation is the way to tune into universal energy and to get that quietness, that relaxation, and that for that mental, emotional release sometimes. And now, that being said, it's not always easy to do when you're high strung, super anxious, right on the edge, whether it's because you're emotionally charged or you're physically charged, whether it be from pain or for whatever the reason is, you're super charged. How do you go, whoa, I need to slow this horse and I have my favorite cannabis strains that pull the reins in on my horse so that I can stop. What are yours? I
Northern Lights. I love Northern Lights for sure. That's a big winner for me. Anything, the heavy hitting indicas, there are so many of them out there, but Northern is a big strain that I really gravitate towards a lot because I grow it. So I've got plenty of supply of it, and it works really well for me. And it's a long time strain that's been an old favorite for many, many years. It's reliable and it's stable. There's a lot of great new strains out there. I could start ramming off 100 different names. Problem is, are they going to be around forever? Are they going to be stable forever? Are you going to be able to get it next week as the same as you can this week? The evolution of strains is massive, and they come, and just as quickly as they come, they're gone. So finding the right one, make sure that it's also one that's going to be around or that you have access to.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's great advice. One of the, Northern Lights is probably my favorite as far as sedating, very dreamy, tranquilizing euphoria that's associated with it. So I like it at bedtime, especially if if my brain is really, really busy and I can't fall asleep. I find the Northern Lights, it's perfect for pain and brain management, but it's really a night, if you're not a regular consumer of cannabis, Northern Lights would not be something you want to meditate with midday. I would probably more recommend either AK-47 or even, my other favorite is Granddaddy Purple, both of which are hybrids. No, Granddaddy Purple, are you familiar with Granddaddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that, do you get much of a body stone? I find it drowns the whole body in a.
Yeah. I'm not one that, I don't smoke a lot of indica leaning hybrids. I'm a sativa girl. Even indica leaning hybrids tend to put me to bed. So, if I'm meditating, then chances are after meditation, I'm having a nap. If it's daytime, because I am so high strung, I need something to bring me way down to get me into state that I can do that and calm myself down enough where I can do my thing to zone out and get in a place that I want to be. But I need a pretty heavy indica for that, and that usually means a nap if it's daytime. So a lot of my meditation is done at the end of the day to release myself from all of the stressors of that day. And then I have a better sleep.
Cool. Have you tried AK-47?
Yeah. Actually, just before the show, I was wearing a T-shirt that's was an AK-47 T-shirt, and I changed my shirt.
Fair. I like AK-47. I find it produces a really serene mindset so that it does quiet enough so that I can let the noise and the chatter evacuate, and it allows me to concentrate on my breathing long enough to slow everything down, bring the thoughts back in one at a time, and deal with them assessingly, kind of like untangling a web. And that's what I like about the AK-47. Cannabis has a real knack for focusing, and providing consistent results for being able to achieve that state of calmness or relaxation. One of the quick things I want to say about self-hypnosis, the difference between the two. Meditation is taking that quiet time. It's that down, it's that mental emotional release. It's the controlling and management of the mind, the brain. Self-hypnosis is getting to that state and installing some suggestions for future wanted behavior. So I'd like to quit chewing my nails. While I'm in a state of self-hypnosis, I will imagine myself not chewing my nails. I will imagine myself painting these long, glorious things. I will imagine myself as my hand comes up, I will go straight to moving my hair out of the way, that sort of thing. These are intentional suggestions, and by writing those out ahead of time prior to a meditation, we can use self-hypnosis while in a state of meditation and install these and make changes, positive changes to our health and wellness, so that when we do emerge, again, we're empowered.
Cool.
Negative overthinking, negative thinking, overthinking equals bad habits. It is a bad habit, and it produces terrible health consequences, physically, mentally, emotionally. Cannabis helps get us to clear our minds and be able to focus and calm things.
Yeah, for sure. It's been my lifesaver. Yeah, for sure.
Me too. And I think that's one of the reasons why, Kim, you are such a powerful patient advocate and cannabis educator. I have listened to you for quite some time now, and thank you. I'm so grateful that you agree to join me on these shows. I know sometimes I overtalk, but I appreciate.
It's all good.
I really appreciate your input. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here at Green Irene's Awards Worth. It's a daily vlog, so video log, just spitballing subjects and topics related to the blog post that usually comes out Monday mornings on www.greenirene.ca. Once again, thank you, Kim, for being my guest today, spitballing with me. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment fields below, and we'll do our best to answer what we can when we can. On that note, thank you. Stay safe, have faith, and fight right. Kim, any final words?
Yeah, just, try and hold it together. Reach out to those you love. Use social media, use technology, because that seems to be the order of the day if you want to stay connected. So utilize the avenues that are available. Get within yourself and try and find some calmness in your center. It will be there if you dig for it. For sure, you'll be able to do that. Just give it a shot. There's information out there that you can learn to do this for yourself, and you'll thank yourself for it. If you're looking for any information on me, you can find me on Facebook at Cannabis Information with Northern Ontario Kim. My company is NOCER, Northern Ontario Cannabis Education and Resources, also on Facebook and on the web. Just Google us and you can find us there. Contests going on the sites right now, and some cute t-shirts coming up to make us giggle through our ordeal. So have a look. I'll see you out there.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, be sure to check Kim out on Facebook. If you're not already a follower, get into the group. She's got a great interactive group, 7:10 every evening, called the 7:10 Sesh. All right, on that note, we're signing off. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to go to our end screen and get us out of here. There we go. Once again, thank you. Ciao for now.